Peace petals, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the benefits of breastfeeding. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic because Nova's approaching her 5-month mark, and it's been a lot trying to keep up with posting various types of content for you guys, but I did say that I would talk about stuff like this and going to go deeper into topics regarding pregnancy and motherhood, which was sort of why I put out the birthwork video, or what is a birthwork video. If you haven't seen that, I can link it below. I have my notes here with me and a couple pamphlets and stuff I'm going to show you to help you with this process to talk about breastfeeding. It's something I'm actually doing right now while baby girl is sleeping, so this is a true message for you guys. So breastfeeding can be known as quote-unquote the healthy choice. Of course, every mother wants to be able to provide for their child or their infant ideally. However, this is the one that was intended by nature, so it is the ideal first food. Not only do the benefits pertain to babies, but also to the mothers as well in many ways. And breastfed babies often have fewer colds, allergies, ear infections, and other health problems. So the breast milk contains natural antibodies that immunize the baby. It's easily digested and readily available. Much perks, because being a mom wanting to do something spontaneously is like, it's just not a thing. There's so many things you have to do, and the way that you start to think and process, it always kind of pertains and includes your baby. So breastfeeding can be so much easier. You just kind of whip it out and feed them, and that's it. It's the perfect temperature. You don't have to warm it up. It has everything it needs, and it interacts with your body chemistry, which I'll go into further. But it's also great to get your baby to a healthy weight. You do it from day one. And so it's a very big part of bonding. It also assists with brain development. Breastfeeding offers faster return to pregnancy weight too, pre-pregnancy weight, which a lot of moms are attracted to or appealed by as well. So a lot of pediatric centers and breastfeeding enthusiasts and things of that nature always urge mothers to give breast milk up to 6 months of pregnancy. However, it's also recommended to go beyond that and to include breastfeeding, even if you expose your young one to foods, to include breastfeeding up into the first year in order to provide the best health, the best growth, and the best development for your infant. Personally, I say breastfeed as long as you can. Keep the breast milk coming, because breast milk has more benefits than just feeding your child. You can apply it topically for cuts, scrapes, bruises, eczema, rashes, which is a great thing. I use it on myself. I actually had a cut on my face not that long ago, and it's gone. I put breast milk on my face 2 days ago, and the cut healed up completely. You can't even tell I had a cut on my face in the area. So it is very much effective, and it's natural, so it adds into everything else. I actually put, when I make some products for skincare, breast milk into my creams and my butters, especially if I'm going to be sharing those things with Nova, and it helps a lot. Alright, it's starting to get a little noisy outside. So another perk of breastfeeding is involution. Involution is the process of the uterus shrinking due to breastfeeding. So oxytocin is released into the body, which is a hormone, which is also part of your experience during pregnancy, but it's present as you're breastfeeding, and that helps to encourage the uterus to shrink back to its previous size by contracting and shrinking down. How will you know when to feed your baby and how much to feed your baby? Their behavior will tell you everything you need to know. So in the womb, they don't necessarily feel hunger as you would describe it. Now, really, we don't know what's really going on in there, but this is based off the observation and study. Because they're connected to an umbilical cord. So they're receiving all their nutrients directly at all times, at every moment. They never have to necessarily ask and say, hey, I'm hungry. They're getting the nutrients regardless. Now you're starting to shift into providing meals. So when they're hungry, you're going to get cues from them. They may, open and close their mouth, try and put their hand in their mouth, their fingers, and suckle, look for the breast, things of that nature. Whatever cues that they have that will let you know when they want to feed. And then over time, it will be easier to predict when they're hungry. You can even hear what sort of cry they have. They have different cries and sounds. Now, to a normal person who maybe has never been around children like that or babies, don't have babies of their own, have only seen babies on TV, the cry just sounds the same. It's just a baby crying, but it is a very highly intelligent form of communication, and their cries vary in tone, duration, length, and expression, which is really fascinating. And you can really hear the difference, especially when it's your baby, of what it is that they're trying to communicate with you. So tips for breastfeeding moms. So you're going to be encouraged to breastfeed your baby within the first hour after birth. That is the golden hour, as they call it. Keep your baby with you at all times so you can feed them often. You're going to be relaxing anyway. If you're doing anything after an hour of giving birth, kudos to you, but you need to rest. You need to relax and recharge. You just finish your marathon, and it's something that is going to extend into your lifetime that goes well beyond your pregnancy. So take the time to recover as you can. So the first milk that is produced in the breast is called colostrum. Colostrum develops the digestive tract in your baby. It's high in protein and low in sugar, and it contains immunoglobulin, so it will assist also with building up the immune system and protecting your baby from germs and sickness. This is something that formula cannot do. So this is a major perk. It is also called the golden milk or the golden liquid. It's golden in color, or it can be clear. It can be sort of a translucent, white, pearly kind of color, and it's sticky. Now this comes out in smaller amounts compared to breast milk, so it's not going to stream out typically like breast milk would. But they are getting enough because babies' stomachs when they're younger are even smaller than the palm of our hand. So it doesn't take, and much smaller. That's like just an example that I gave. So they'll get what they need, and you'll be able to have help if you need it of showing you how to breastfeed. So the demand for food will tell the breast to make breast milk. Feeding on average 1 to 2 hours is pretty typical for newborns, and it may continue as they grow older. One way I learned to do it, you can sit in a chair or have your feet elevated, or you can lay on a pillow or be in bed, depending on where you are. You just want to be comfortable and not straining your back and your neck and your shoulders. Another position is to be lying down on your side, which is something I didn't do until Nova was much bigger. She's actually doing this right now as I'm sitting up, but she's laying on her side and I'm sitting up. So there's so many different ways and various positions that you can use and try that you can look up. For me, I had larger breasts, so it was challenging to cradle her and to put her like straight on. What worked for me was side lying eventually and football hold. Also, it just took some time. They may encourage you to get a laser treatment done. Nova had a little bit of a tongue tie, but that's what I don't resonate with when it comes to allopathic medicine. Sometimes they're very quick to want to rush and to cut her tongue to make her work, and all it did was it took practice for her to get adjusted to latching on. So don't feel pressured to make any decisions. It's going to take time for them to learn how to suckle and to nurse and to receive a meal on the outside for the first time, just like it's going to take you time to learn how to position your breasts and your nipple and which ways to latch and what's comfortable for you. It is a team effort. So this also ties into the bonding experience of what I mentioned before. It also, breastfeeding, helps with postpartum depression, to regulate the menstrual cycle so that it doesn't come onset. Most people typically don't receive a cycle up like to the first year, which is a natural form of birth control to a degree. You can still get pregnant during that time of postpartum, although it's not recommended. You want your body to heal and have time to reset to its original state. And quite frankly, breastfeeding is free, okay? It saves time and money, no cleanup. It just sounds like a win-win to me with all the added benefits I've mentioned and so many more. So how to breastfeed? Basically, you use your thumb and your forefingers, right? And sign language, milk, the sign for milk, you're squeezing your hand like this. Some people do like milk, milk, milk. Essentially, you're doing that. You're holding the bottom of your breast and cupping it, and you push down on the top. Now, you see how my finger is curled under. You don't want to have your finger out like this when you're holding your breast. You want to have it so that it wouldn't touch in the way. And you point your nipple upward towards the nose, right? And the baby is going to come towards you like this. Essentially, you want your nipple to stay pointing upward towards the roof of their mouth, because that's going to get a deep latch into their mouth. A deep latch means that it's going to be closer to their uvula and the back of their throat, so that when they suck the milk out, you're going to create a larger pulling effect. It's going to bring the milk out. And now if you just put the tip of your nipple into the baby's mouth, it can cause a lot of pain and discomfort, and there's going to be an improper latch, and it's very likely that your baby will not get the breast milk to the full degree that they would have if they had a deeper latch. So, just try and make sure you have the correct position, and it will feel natural. It shouldn't be painful. Now, the first few feedings, it's going to be different. It may feel a little bit uncomfortable. It may hurt a little bit because you've never had your nipples sucked on for that amount of time and in that way. But over time, it should be something that's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you may have something like mastitis or something that you want to have looked at by a lactation consultant or a healthcare provider that you trust. So once you have the upper lip and the nipple aligned, you'll see that the baby will drop their jaw and lift their head up so that they can get a better grip. And you want to bring the baby to the breast, not the other way around. You don't want to try and push your breast in their mouth, because at least for me, that definitely didn't work. Everyone finds their own way, and you're going to tweak it a little bit. But it's easier if you bring the baby to you and let them adjust to you. And you want to get the nipple again back far in the mouth, and his chin and nose will be touching different parts of your breast, so they'll be pressed against you like this with a deep latch. Okay. Another cue is their lips may be flanged out like a duck, like this. Okay. Yeah, and if you need to detach, just take one finger and gently, but also firmly. People would do it on the outside of the cheek and rub it and kind of push it in until the seal is broken, like that. Or some people encourage you to do like a finger swoop and gently like rub it out and down, and that will kind of break the seal as well. And over time, your breast milk will shift. So babies will have growth spurts at around 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks. 2 weeks, 6 weeks, and 3 months. Even 2 months. And during these times, baby will act even more hungry or be even more hungry, and they'll feed more often. You'll notice they may even be crankier than usual. They'll have shifts in personality. That's perfectly normal. They're going to control the milk supply. So every time that they feed, they're encouraging your body to produce more milk, because you're starting to regulate the cycle. So the more your baby feeds, the more your milk is going to produce. So if you're feeling discouraged when breastfeeding, seek out the help that you need and try not to give up. Do the best you can. Find ways that works for you, because it will take time, and the amount of milk you have is not going to keep producing if you stop doing it. So keep breastfeeding. So on average, I said they breastfeed from about 1 to 2 hours, or every 1 to 2 hours, for about 15 and 20 minutes. Longer in the beginning when they're newborns. They can nurse for about an hour straight, and then it kind of dwindles out. And I'm full-time breastfeeding, so she breastfeeds when she wants, really. A session can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And as long as you have no nipple pain, just let them drain out each breast before switching to the other one. You'll be able to tell because your breasts will feel full, they'll feel heavier. Some may even leak with milk. I tend to give her the heaviest breast and let her drain that out. And as you're breastfeeding with one breast, the other one tends to develop milk because you're producing it. So it really is a balance, like yin and yang, and the scales going on there. And when you're breastfeeding, if you're wanting to breastfeed full time, you do not need to give them a bottle because it will cut down your milk supply. Unless you're pumping profusely, it doesn't really make that much sense if you don't have to. If your whole point is to breastfeed. And from my experience, what I noticed when I've been breastfeeding full time, I try to give Nova like a pacifier once. She was just not feeling it. She's just like, what is this? So they may not even take kindly to that transition. So yeah, during the first few weeks, on average, baby will probably feed 8 to 12 times in a day, maybe more. They'll have about 6 wet diapers, meaning pee, and maybe 2 to 3 dirty diapers. And the dirty diapers will consist of, at first it will be meconium, so it'll be like a dark green, dark black, kind of fluidy, liquidy sort of stool that will eventually lighten into shades of kind of greenish and then into like a mustardy yellow, and it will pretty much stay yellow for the first few months. And after feeding, they should be okay for about the hour or two, and then they'll have their next feeding, and you'll know baby's getting a nice latch and they're feeding well when they have a slow rhythmic motion. You can hear them swallowing the milk. Okay. And if you have any other questions, contact a nurse, lactation consultant, and specialist. Google is your friend. Find some books. Talk to a mother you know if you feel they'll give you a positive experience and feedback and they're not projecting their experience onto you. And that can be extremely helpful. Now, there's something else I have that came with my little pamphlet, and this is a little breastfeeding magnet. I hope it will focus. It seems like it is. But this just talks about storing breast milk. So on the countertop, if it's 77 degrees, it can be fresh on the counter up to 4 hours. If it's thawed, 1 to 2 hours. In the refrigerator at or below 40 degrees, this is all Fahrenheit, it can be in the fridge for 4 days, up to 24 hours when it's thawed. In the freezer, up to 6 months. In the deep freezer, up to 12 months. You should never refreeze thawed breast milk. Like I said, it's better just to give it to them live and direct, but not everyone has the same life circumstances. So if you have to work and breastfeed and put things in a bottle in storage, that could be very helpful for you. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it encouraged you to free the nips, to free the tatas, to help yourself in your recovery period, but also to grow closer with your baby and to have an experience that can last for years. And it reaps so many benefits. It's something that I enjoy as a mom. It's probably my favorite part of breastfeeding. It's something that's been a little kind of tradition that we've had since day one, and that's a rite of passage that I feel every mother should have, or at least try to experience if she can, because it just totally makes the experience real. For me, pregnancy was very surreal, giving birth was very surreal, and breastfeeding was the one thing that kind of anchored in all the experiences into one, to where now everything is grounded and I'm living it out, and I'm here. Alrighty. Peace. Thank you so much again.